The one area that nobody talks about, but which is really quite important, is the real estate. Okay, most places now have to do a build to suit. So for the other business people here, if you have some spare capital, actually building the locations will make you money, and second will help the community. Because if you're sitting in Manila, the easiest decision to make is I'll just expand here in Makati. Then you come up against the limitations, no, of cost, real estate cost, etc. And you say, well, okay, let's go outside because then there are more students there. It's easier to hire. What is starting Manila 16, 18,000 pesos? Maybe you can get by with 12,000, 14,000. I don't know what your hiring. I don't know what your peso hiring rate is here, but that's about 12 to 14 here, right? So you're saving 4,000 bucks over 12 months, 50,000 pesos per hire. So that's why companies really want to be outside of Metro Manila. They've targeted Dumaguete, basically because of Siliman. The universities here, you have LaSalle and you have many others here in Negros. So they'll come over. You have the fiber connectivity. You have a convivial amenities for living. So one of the limitations is where are we going to locate? And by simply building, it's not very expensive, no, but build to suit. I think you get many more companies who come here and locate. And you can actually partner with an educational institution. In other words, if I wasn't a senator, what I would do, let's say, is take some property, go partner with LaSalle and say, I'll build here this property. LaSalle, you give me first crack at your graduates. I talk to people support, or now Convergys is here. You had your own building, Convergys, no? I mean, to sell it. Yeah, build to suit here. But if the private sector built that, then the decision to come is much easier. So and if you say to the other companies in Manila, listen, I have the school, I have the supply of students, I have the building, all you could do is show up. It's a much easier decision. And they'll pay you rent back, you'll make money, and you can sell your chicken to the kids that are coming out there. So it's very, very exciting. It's tough. As in all things, it's tough until you prove the business model, but the business model has been proven, and it's blue sky from here. The one thing that I would also remind you of is to work very closely with BIPA. You know? I just raised for BIPA the equivalent of $3 million to fund the McKinsey study. I went around to the two telcos, Manny Pangilinan and Pauline Sereno of Smart PLDT, Jaime Gusto of Globe, so they chipped in money. I went around together with BIPAP to the real estate companies in Metro Manila and basically said, look, all of your space has been taken up by this industry, you need to chip in to fund the next phase. The business model I wrote up when I was DTI contained 5 points. First, telco connectivity. Second, human resource development. Third was the incentive package. That's how we had to rewrite the PEZA law. Fourth was the security. That's why we had the E-Commerce Act passed. And then the fifth was business development. We then had to go around the world and sell the Philippines as a location. That 5-point strategic plan I mean, this was in 2000, we're now 2008 now, so we need a new strategic plan that takes us, that strategic plan was to go from grade 1 to grade 7. We now need a new strategic plan to go from first year high school to fourth year high school. And that's why we hired McKinsey. It was quite expensive, it was $2 million that we had to pay them, but they wrote it up. The extra $1 million was to fund BIPAP for the next 2-3 years of operation. I interviewed Oka Sanyas, the president of BIPAP, and he's now the guy there. I mean, we hired world-class executives. Oka Sanes used to run P&G in Indonesia. I mean, we hired top-class executives to run the industry association. So it's very, very important that there's a common voice, that everybody works through BPAP, so that the agenda of Bacolod is not just floating around, but it becomes included as part of the BPAP agenda when it deals with government. And that's the reason why we really strengthen BPAP. There is zero government in BPAP. It's 100% private. The telcos chipped in, they were the biggest because they're beneficiary also. Okay. Then the real estate companies. Then I got PAL and Cebu Pacific, Lance and the TANs to chip in because all of your executives come fly back and forth. Then I got everybody, Microsoft, everybody to chip in, the industry itself. So this money is your money, and through your members, you can get BPAP to say, hey, we're paying our dues, you're supposed to come here. The concept is private sector individually has a diffused voice. So we consolidate it in BPAP, which is entirely private sector, and then BPAP becomes a single point of reference for government. That way, government is not nagatalang-talang kung nanong kinanglan sa industriya. Sometimes somebody will say, well, we need this, we need that, we need whatever. And that's why the industry said, let's get together so that we will have a single point of interaction so that ang agenda sa gobyerno kanang agenda sa private sector maka-align. So if BPAP's not coming here, I'm happy to remind them that you're here, remind them in the strongest terms to come here. But BPAP belongs to you.
We have created a short situationer for you, and we have discussed a lot of the major points. And its net is actually composed of 42 schools and universities and training centers, including of course LaSalle and the other big universities. And we intend to join BPAP, hopefully as one body, as a single entity, because of the dues, which are very expensive. We hope you have socialized dues at BPAP. I think we were promised that. And if affordable, and when we get financing, we will join. We intend to join fully. And there are just a few other items which weren't discussed. One, of course, is, and I'm going to step on some toes, there is a lack of coordination between city and province on measures to relieve the stress on the ICT industry, ICT and IT-enabled industries. And for the other...
Can you give me a full instance? Because it's somewhat vague. It's not
sometimes the right foot, the right hand doesn't know what's going on with the left hand. Relatively, there are some training measures done by the provincial, which is not in conjunction with the city and vice versa. They have tried to put up a training center. We're not sure whether this is train the trainers or train the trainees, and this is under DepEd. And for us, it should be above. Post-secondary is no longer the domain, and the effort should be directed towards something else, like train the trainers first, not train the trainees on the part of the government, because we are losing the private sector incentive. And there are others.
Is that found in your
yes.
At the same time, can you just do that?
Yeah.
But very quickly, just
but very quickly. We also need help as far as licensing is concerned, because we cannot really fully go high speed on animation, and the licenses are very expensive. And the U.S., the third-party software developers in the U.S. have not given the Philippines educational licenses, which could really lower the costs for us. And the other items are here, including exposure trips for us in the ICT councils, so that we know what's going on in the world.
And another point would be put more emphasis on the language proficiency courses, and to Councilor Josel's point, the ICT workshop or other courses that would increase employment, the chance of employment, not just on the top universities in here in Bacolod, but all the universities and colleges in Bacolod and outside Bacolod.
okay.